Okay, so it's lesson 4, part 2. So we're going to do two things before we leave for today. One together and then one just in the teams. So I want to organize these into, we just have all the tasks here, but it's just in this generic list called task list. So I want to organize these into different kind of phases of the project, and then we can move the tasks around. So the related tasks are kind of together, or things we want to do in sequence. And then when we're done this, I just want to have, I'm going to create breakout rooms, and I just want to have a brief check-in with each team before the end of the day. And we're going to have those check-in meetings regularly. So looking at our task list, how could we divide these up? What would be maybe some different lists or different phases of the project? Okay, so Justin's got, okay, we do have some things in terms of, that's one way of doing it, pre-code, the actual coding, and then after. Okay, that's one possibility, yeah. So sort of planning, building, launch. Okay, we could have, yeah, we could have a design phase. So that would maybe be part of pre-code. So I like both those ideas. So maybe we'll add a design. Okay, so we've got a task list for design. So Justin, you've got code. Maybe we'll put that in as, we'll add that list as the actual build phase. So coding and implementation. Put that in as a description. And you can reorder these as well, right? So I can, yeah, I can, let me just think if I go to manage, yeah, I can just drag. So we'll put design first. What other phases would there be? So maybe after code, so Justin, we could even break that down into a few things. I'm going to break that down a little further. So we've got QA, so, you know, the quality assurance piece. And then we also have things like the things around like SEO and hosting and some of that stuff. We'll maybe call that pre-launch. So actually, I want to put the design, let's see. So design should go at the top. And then we probably won't need this list. We've got a design phase, a build, quality assurance, and pre-launch. That's probably good. This isn't a huge project. So let's move the tasks. I can do it, or you can drag and drop. So right now, all our tasks are in this list called task list. So you can actually drag any of your tasks into, you know, go ahead and move any task you've created, move it into what you think the appropriate list is. So we've got design and build, and we've also got quality assurance and pre-launch. So it allows drag and drop here. So you can drag and drop, or you can just, I think if you edit your task, yeah, you can move it to a different list. So go ahead and move any task that you want. Doesn't matter if it's your task or someone else's. Okay, so we've got, Rachel's moved the site architecture and the brainstorm and research into design. So where should we move these other tasks? What about the database? Where does this go? In the design or build? Okay, so let's move that into build. Oh, it says it's locked. Interesting. Okay, it's in build. Creating the home page. Yeah, so feel free to update the board. I don't have to do them all. You can move them, as Rachel and Justin done. What about the designing determined technology stack? Where should we put that one? Okay, so Ivan, you moved it. Navigation, determining the crowd pages. Right. Okay. So now we've got a pretty good picture of design, right? Here's all the things we need to do before we can actually start building anything. Right? This is kind of the planning phase. And you might even divide this into like design. You might even have planning as separate where you do like navigation, technology, or we can do it in one list. We'll keep it simple. All right. So under build now, yep, we've got all these build tasks. So we've got the CSS layout. We probably want to put this, I think, in design. You can also tag things in Freedcamp if you want to relate groups of things. So I think, Josie, the image galleries, those would probably be under build as well. The roles and permissions might go in build. Listings would be in build. And you might even divide the build into separate phases in a big project. Right? Our appointment booking is going to go in build. Our mortgage calculator needs to go there. Password, news. QA can be its own. I think we want to put it in here. Emily, you might have to move it. I don't think I can. So if you want to move that into its QA, and then we've got our pre-launch. Okay, maybe I'll just add it as a new task since I can't move it. I'll assign that one to Emily. And we'll maybe remove it here. And the social links, that might be part of build, perhaps. And now I can get rid of my original task list. So now things are kind of, again, organized. We're going to do these things first. Then we're going to build, test, pre-launch. Whoops, Nick, I don't know where all the SEO tasks went to. I may have to add them back in quickly. My bad. Sorry. So we had Google Analytics. Meta tags. Page titles. Oh, you see them? Hit refresh. I may have deleted them somehow. Ads. They're in there twice. Okay. Keywords. Oh, yes, of course. They're here. It's okay. I'm new. So this is what I want you to do. The one other thing we can quickly do is we can prioritize these. So let's just go through these tasks and give them priority. So you can do this, right? So we might put them in order. So we're not going to do CSS, for example. We're probably going to do this first. Research and brainstorm and do the site architecture, technology stack. Like CSS, this design work's probably going to happen last, right? We probably need to do wireframes and mockups before we're actually going to do CSS. Right? We can't do the navigation structure until we figure out the required pages. So we're going to prioritize them kind of in the order that they might happen. And you also, in the ability in FreeCamp, have the ability to do this priority where you can set things as no priority, low, medium, or high. So if I want to set that at high, it'll give it a red indicator, site architecture. I could set as medium, required. Determining the page is going to happen first. If we don't know what pages we have, we can't do the architecture, really. First, we just got to list the pages and then we figure out how they fit together. So you can prioritize your most important tasks and put them in the order. So for example, the database, it's got to happen first, right? We can't do any of these things if we don't have a database, for example. And maybe we'll actually put this in. I'm going to move this to this would probably go down in pre-launch. I can't change it here. Let's see if I can move it down to the pre-launch list. Okay. And we probably want to launch after we do this stuff. So we'll put our SEO stuff first, and then launch to the web server is last. Okay, so we've now got a pretty good plan in terms of what are all the things we need to do, who's doing what, and how are we dividing this into phases so that the project is organized. So here's what I want you to think about. For assignment 2, when you're done assignment 2, you should be able to give your FreeCamp task list to another team, and they should be able to build the project with very few questions. They should know all of the tasks that have to happen and how they're organized and in what order. So I've created these lists, right? Design, build, or we've created quality assurance pre-launch. I'm suggesting you could use these tasks because you have 2 presentations. You have to do a design and present it. Then you have to show a first working version where some of the features are working. And then in the end of April, you've got your final presentation where you're showing your final project. So I'm suggesting you break your tasks up into these lists, but it's up to you. So you're breaking down the Man Up project in a similar way to what we've just done today. And you can at least start to assign tasks to the individual members of your team, who is going to do what in each part of the project. So for assignment 2, it should look like this when you submit it. I should see all the tasks organized and prioritized, and at least some of them should be assigned to members of the team. Okay, does anybody have any questions about using the tasks, task lists, or the requirements for assignment 2? Okay. The last thing I want to do today, I'm going to stop the recording in a second. So this is done. This is here for you to reference, though. You all have access to this project. We have no class next week. It's family day. Take the day off. So when I'll see you back here in 2 weeks, assignment 2 will be submitted. I do want to have, I'm going to start the breakout sessions. I just want to have a brief check-in with each team. Okay. And these check-ins, we're going to have these meetings regularly. They count for 15% of your mark just for participating in the meetings. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. Bear with me, and I will just put you in the breakouts, and I'll have a quick 2-minute check-in with each team. Okay, and each individual person has to speak in the meeting. Okay, I want an individual progress from every team member, agile style. So I'll be right back. I'll put you in the breakouts in a minute.